Casita Linda has been transforming lives and building homes for families in need since 2001. Its unwavering commitment to social change, Casita Linda has become an integral part of our community, symbolizing compassion and generosity. Casita Linda's mission is very simple: to provide safe and dignified housing for families living in extreme poverty. They believe that everyone deserves a place to call home. Through the effective efforts of volunteers, donors, and local partners, Casita Linda has built 150 homes, transforming the lives of countless families. The beneficiary families are actively involved in the construction process, fostering a sense of pride and ownership. By working alongside their volunteers, these families not only gain a new home, they also gain valuable skills and a sense of self-worth. We've invited Louise Gilliam, the president of Casita Linda, to speak to us today and to tell us more about this wonderful organization. Louise has lived in San Miguel since 2006. After living in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, all the small cities of the United States, she was director of corporate communications for a major airline and then went on to establish her own executive search firm. She is committed to seeing the poorest of the poor in San Miguel are treated with dignity, respect, and have sustainability. Louise, welcome, and please join us and tell us more about your organization. Welcome.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about our organization. We are so proud of what we've done. We have evolved since it began in 2001. So bear with me for a couple of minutes and we'll show you a video. You're not hearing me? Okay. Oh, okay. We'd like to show you a short video. It's a little bit old. We're working on a new one for our next gala, but you get a glimpse of what we can do and what we have done in the past. What was that?
San Miguel de Allende, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and recently named the number one city in the world by Condé Nast. Many expats call San Miguel home, noting the quality of life it offers. However, just beyond the stunning cosmopolitan centro lies another world, one of extreme poverty. Casita Linda builds homes for San Miguel's poorest citizens. Our families live far below poverty line. They are hard-working people. Casita Linda builds an entire house and transforms a family's life for generations for less than $15,000 US. As of 2020, Casita Linda has changed the lives of hundreds of families in 20 communities around San Miguel de Allende, but the need is enormous. With your support, we can continue to help empower communities and build hope for others in need. Casita Linda, building hope one house at a time.
That's pretty powerful, isn't it? I still get the chills every time I see it. I must have seen it 100 times. I'd like to introduce to you now Gabby Rodriguez, who's our executive director. Gabby, stand up. Gabby runs Casita Linda. I just don't know what we would do without her. And we're also very, very pleased that one of your own is our own, Terry Kavanaugh. She's on our board. It took me a lot of persuasion to get her there, but she did it. Ron covered a lot of what I was going to say today, but we'll go ahead and go through this. Today, 42% of Mexicans live under the national poverty line. Even here in San Miguel, where so many of us are so very fortunate to be here, to have enough to eat, to sleep in a bed. It's just amazing to me when you go out to the campo and you see these families who slept on the dirt for years and years, never a mattress. They sleep together on a bedspread in a house that's made of reed and tin and found objects. It's just unbelievable that in this town, where we are so fortunate, 42% of them live in those conditions. It boggles my mind. I'll tell you a story. There's so many things that can touch you, but I was showing this little 4-year-old boy his bed, the first bed he's ever seen in his entire life. And we had sheets and we had pillowcases, and God bless the blanket babes who give us these in beautiful, colorful spreads to put on every bed that we make. Anyway, I'm showing this little 4-year-old boy a pillow, and he's looking at it and he's going, ¿Qué es eso? He did not know what a pillow was. And then he put his head in it, and his eyes just lit up. There are hundreds and hundreds of stories like this. But anyway, I can go on, but I won't. So we help the families who have an income of less than $500 US a month. Picture that. How many times have you gone out for dinner? $500 a month they live on. And sometimes it's a family of 5, 6. It's amazing. So when you give them their first home, where they actually have concrete under their feet, and they have a light, and they have a table and a chair that they can sit on, which they've never had before in their lives, and a bed where they don't have to sleep, the boys don't have to sleep with the girls, and the parents don't have to sleep with the children. That says a whole lot when you're taking the girls and the boys and the parents and giving them their own space. It eliminates a lot of possibilities. So we always say that when we build our 650 square foot house, it has 3 bedrooms with locked doors. So we support our community by offering workshops on health, family planning, family communication skills, water conservation, and other important factors. In 2000, San Miguel suffered a particularly harsh winter, and the unusual freezing temperatures of this winter caused several deaths in the municipalities. There was a man named Jeffrey Brown. I don't know if any of you know Jeffrey or knew Jeffrey. He was a San Miguel resident stonemason, and he partnered with a woman named Irma Rosado. Unfortunately, Irma is no longer with us. And she was a human services consultant. And they secured a very small donation, and they started Casita Linda AC, a Mexican nonprofit. It's been a wonderful team since the very beginning of Mexicans and expats working together. We've evolved a lot since then. Back in 2001, I think a house cost $1,500 US. They weren't very sustainable. There was a group of men who got together and built these homes themselves. And so since 2001, we have evolved to what you have seen here, to a home being built by a professional construction company, and we'll go into more of that later. And it's sustainable. And our hope and our prayer is that these houses will last for generations to stop intergenerational poverty, and that they will always have a place to come home to. And these houses are incredibly sustainable. Tell you how they're built a little bit later. But everyone wants to know, how do we find the people to live in these houses? Well, we have an office on Zihuatanejo. Zacatecas, I'm sorry. And Zacatecas, what am I saying? Zihuatanejo, I want to go to the beach. On Zacatecas. And the word has spread through the communities that we build in to come to our office if you really want a house. And so they come and they talk to Gabby, and they have to fill out a lot of paperwork, and they have to own their land that has been handed down to them through generations, the ejido land. And they have to meet our criteria. They have to make less than $500 a month, US. They have to have their children in school. One of the parents has to work. We really prefer that the woman own the land because of some of the possibilities that could happen with the men going back to the States. And so it's really more comfortable for everyone if the women own the land. So they go through an extreme vetting process. We have a wonderful woman named Magda Perez, who has decades long of social experience, social work. And she's like amazing. And with Magda and Gabby going out to the campo and interviewing these people, and once we select them, they have to promise that they will go to our workshops for 9 months, twice a week. That's a big commitment from them, but we need them to do that. And they do. And once they have completed that, and Magda writes a synopsis of each of the families, they present it to our board. Now, our board is only 8 people, and I'm very proud to say we have the same 8 people we had when I started. They're wonderful people. We've added Terry, and we've added a couple of new ones recently. But the board works very hard. And so Magda presents the findings that she and Gabby have come up with, and the board votes on it. Sometimes it's very difficult. We recently had a case of a young girl who had 2 children by 2 different men. She was 21. We found that there was some abuse from her mother and from her brother. And this comes from Magda's really commitment to finding out what these families are all about. So Magda presented her anyway to us, and it was unfortunate that we said no, but we gave her 9 months of, we said, in 9 months we'll revisit you. And there were a lot of other things, but we were really quite concerned with the brother abusing her and the children, and there's not much that Casita Linda can do about that. So we sent her to CASA for birth control pills, and we sent her to a psychiatrist to try to find out what the root problem of this young girl was. She seems to be coming along, right? Gabby knows everything. Okay. So that's how we do our family selection process. And once they're selected, then they go into the workshops. I'm jumping around, Gabby, don't get mad at me. Our workshops are led by Magda, and they begin with topics such as self-esteem and values and goal setting, nutrition, childcare, home care, water conservation, organic gardening, income generating projects. And then they work up to such challenging issues as sexuality, family planning, addiction, and domestic violence. Those are tough subjects for Magda to address, but it's amazing what happens. Recently, a touchy subject recently, but recently we started concentrating on birth control. And we partnered with CASA. And CASA came to the Campo and talked about the patches that women can get and other different forms of birth control. And some of the women said, yeah, we want to do that, but we can't tell our husbands. That was kind of eye-opening, but they did get the patches. They still haven't told their husbands. But hopefully this will help with family planning, and they are listening, which is good. I'll tell you another wonderful story about family selection. In 2016, we had a young woman that came to the office. She was 21 years old, and she talked to our former executive director, Amber Nieto. I don't know if you all know Amber. And she said she wanted a house. So we vetted her, and she did get a house. She was married to a fellow that works at La Comer in security, and she had 2 little girls. So we gave her a house. And then about maybe 2 or 3 months later, she came back and wanted to work, and she wanted to clean our offices. So we hired her part-time, 2 days a week, to clean our offices. And Amber noticed that she had a real interest in computers. So Amber taught her the computer. Gia is now our office assistant. Her 2 children are in the international school, and they speak English. She is, last night she wrote to me and said, could I please go to my 8th level of English? So we are sending her to English school. And her husband is now the head of security at La Comer. This goes to show you what happens when you give someone a home and you give them shelter and you say, you're good, you're a good person, and we believe in you. That's what happened to Gia, and we are so proud of Gia, aren't we, Terry? And she helps Gabby immensely, and Gabby just keeps teaching her, and she's one of our biggest success stories. I'm all over the place here, I'm sorry. So I covered the workshops. I'm going to cover our housing model. As I said, that before receiving a house, these families live in shacks, and they're made of cardboard and plastic sheets and scavenged bricks with dirt floors. The dirt floors turn muddy in the rainy season. That's not a lot of fun. Moving into a Casita Linda house that has concrete floors, separate bedrooms for boys and girls, an indoor bathroom. This is very important. They've never had a bathroom before. We had to teach them how to use a bathroom. And a shower, we give them a shower. Well, you should see the little kids when they look and go, what's that? And the water is pouring down. It's just amazing. And we partner with the School for the Deaf, and they make our benches and our tables. We pay them, so it's a win-win for them and for us. We also partner with Caminos de Agua, and they put a cistern in every house. Again, win-win for them. And, of course, the blanket babes. Where is she? Where's our blanket babe lady? I mean, it's amazing what they do. They crochet these amazing blankets, bedspreads, really. And when we have a house celebration, when the house is completed and we have a celebration, we put these spreads on all the beds, and the house just, it's very colorful, and we let the families pick their own color houses, so sometimes it's very colorful out in the country. But thank you and your group for everything you do for us. It's really wonderful. They crochet by Starbucks on Thursdays from 11:30 to 1:30, right, yeah. So going into how we build with a company called Armo, and they're out of Puebla. They build with what we call Legos. I don't know. I don't guess we have a picture of it. Yeah, no. Where is it? Up there at the top. They look like Legos, and they sit, each brick sits into itself, and then there's rebar in between, and then they pour the concrete in the rebar. So we actually save 70% of water because we're not mixing cement. It's amazing how quickly they can build these houses. We usually build 4 at a time, and right now we are out in how do you pronounce it? Campanile, whatever. In Cienegita. And we're building 4 houses at a time. So by the end of this year, we will have built our 150th house. The house costs $15,000. It's an additional $2,000 that covers the water purification systems, the furniture, the sewerage at times. Altogether, it's about $17,000. So that's where we are. It's here are some pictures of the houses before and after. Amazing, isn't it? What, honey? What? Oh, the water harvesting system, yeah. But you see how they try? I mean, look at how those clothes are stacked up over there in their old little place where they used to live. Now they have a dresser. That's it? Okay. One more thing. This is my pet. On September 12th, we will be having our 11th annual Spirit of Hope Gala. It's at Live Agua. The theme is Moulin Rouge. It's going to be amazing. I mean, we have Sarah Fetzer doing the hors d'oeuvres. We have great entertainment. We have Pam and the Andersons as your dance band. We have lots of other entertainment that are surprises. A 3-course dinner by a world-renowned chef at Live Agua. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is our only fundraiser during the year. We don't do anything else. But last year we raised $175,000 from doing this. And it paid for 10 homes and sustained our office for a while. This year we are blessed to have an angel who underwrote it. And so every penny that's paid here, even the tickets, will go toward building a home. I have an angel. She's an angel. And so we expect to build a lot more homes next year. So come to the Moulin Rouge Gala. It's going to be fun. Any questions anyone has?
Any questions for Louise? Here we go. Joe?
Can you talk about a little bit about the difficulty of people wanting to volunteer and how you really, because a lot of people want to know how they can be involved and volunteer?
That's really a sad question for us because there really are very few opportunities to volunteer for Casita Linda and as far as the building process is concerned. Because we do have ARMO and they come from Puebla. They do stay here until all the houses are finished. They go back and forth. It was started by a husband and wife team, Jorge and Sylvia, and their family is all involved in making these bricks, and they schlep the bricks up here from Puebla. But because they're building 4 houses at a time, they're on a real tight time schedule. So we find that when one person calls, and trust me, I get tons of calls, I'm coming in for a couple of hours and I'd like to come out and help. Well, first of all, we're pretty far away from town, so to get there is a problem. But then there's the question of insurance. We did have a young man who worked with them because his family had donated 3 houses to us. And he was on a program of trying to get into Harvard or something, and he needed some community time. So he came down and he was a wonderful guy. But he fell and he hurt himself. And we had to put him in the hospital. And it got to be a little scary. So we don't allow people to come out and just throw a couple of bricks on. What we do allow is if someone wants to come on a retreat and they bring their employees, I have someone who comes down, this will be his 6th house that he's built for us. He brings his employees down from Austin, and they spend 2 days building. That's a different story. They've given us $27,000 last year to build a house. So we let them come out, and they make, it's okay for them to come out when they build a house. But to just have somebody come out for a day or two, it just doesn't work from an insurance standpoint and from a time standpoint. Terry?
We do have people from paint.
Well, yes.
And one of them is here with us today. Jose paints a lot with Rotary.
Right. You can, the one way that we have of volunteering is to paint a house. And we have a lot of people that come out and paint houses. And it's great for a company or for an organization to do it. It builds camaraderie within their own company and with their organization. Jose?
Yeah, Rotaract has been helping with almost 6 houses already. 6, 7 houses. And we would like to ask when's gonna be the new houses to paint. Because Rotaract wanna help again, and maybe Midday can join us and just help all together.
We should be completing a couple of houses when? In a month? We always announce that on our webpage, www.casitalinda.org. We love to have people come out and paint. And when we complete a house, the recipients of the house usually, like they did with the Wise Girls, they will cook, and they're in such gratitude for what we've done, and we try to say, no, don't do that, don't do that. We bring a big cake, but they're always making tacos and chicken mole or something for us, and they're so proud of their new home. So everybody's invited to come out and participate in our celebrations also. And when we build our 150th house and it's complete, we're having a huge celebration, and everyone is welcome then.
We have a question online from Tom Snyder. He says, is there jealousy with the other families in the community that some got a house and they didn't?
Sure. It's natural, isn't it?
Seems like
That's one of the problems that Magda has to deal with, sure. You can imagine what that's like when you're living next door to someone who's in a shack and you've got a new concrete house, sure. But she's very schooled, she's very, very intelligent, and Gabby can talk to anybody, and she goes out there and she calms them down.
Any other questions? Well, good. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.